Brian, they're mentioning the quarterback. That's a big piece of this for the Colts. They need to get one.
Yes. First of all, Shane Steichen, you won the first press conference, brother. When you can go into a team or go into your first press conference speaking about the positional needs at the quarterback position, but also pointing out Pittman, who is your number one wide receiver, thinking about Jonathan Taylor, who 2 years ago was the best back in the entire football league, and then talking about an offensive line that actually regressed a little bit last year, which was part of the offensive problems. When you think of this team, they have to understand that finding a quarterback hasn't been the veteran route, or that route hasn't worked for them in the recent history. So think about the C.J. Strouds, the Bryce Youngs, but there still will be the Jimmy Garoppolos on the market. And if there's an opportunity to create a quarterback competition or to find the right guy, we know that Shane Steichen has been a part of developing an offense that fit exactly what the quarterback was very good at in Jalen Hurts. It's kind of accentuated his positives and negated some of his negatives, and that's what you want a coach to be able to do. He's watched the team have to play complementary football, so I think this is a great hire for the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, smart, energetic, and passionate. That's what you hear about Shane Steichen. You just talked about the quarterback position. I'll be quick here. He spent the majority of his coaching career with the Chargers and then Philadelphia. I think of Phillip Rivers, Justin Herbert, and Jalen Hurts. Strong, powerful, big dudes, and Jalen obviously being athletic with Justin. Two names, Will Levis from Kentucky and then Anthony Richardson from Florida. Those are the two quarterbacks that are going to fit the mold of what Shane Steichen has been around for the great majority of his coaching career.
So, Dan, in that question, because I was going to talk about that, but in that question, what you just mentioned, when you look at both of these guys, development-wise, how they're tailored, is it because of what you just saw with Jalen Hurts and him accentuating the positives as RC spoke of, or do you think that Shane Steichen legitimately can go another direction? Let's just hypothetically think that he can't get another guy like that. Do you think he has enough cachet and acumen to do it with a guy that you may have to play with without those necessary athletic traits?
Good question. I don't know him well enough to know exactly if that's the case. I'll answer it this way, Marcus. They have no choice. They got to go get their guy. Indy, you got to go get the rookie. And I think one of those two kids fits at least what he's been a part of in the past. I think the Jalen aspect of this year changes the way he looks at the position and changes the way he wants to coach football, meaning implementing that quarterback run. But I think Anthony Richardson and Will Levis could do both of it because of their size.
Yeah, you heard her say they're not shying away from it. They'll trade up if they need to.
Have to.
And it's going to be a fascinating conversation in the lead up to this draft. Field, what stood out to you in the press conference?
You know, Laura, at one point, Chris Ballard talked about how he and Shane Steichen are aligned philosophically and how they want to build a roster. And that's one of those lines that anytime a GM says it, I'd say like 98% of the time, it's a throwaway, generic press conference cookie cutter line. Here's why it matters, though. There were multiple instances this year, most notably when Frank Reich was hired and when Sam Ehlinger was named the starting quarterback, where it felt like Jim Irsay decided what he wanted to do and made the decision. Owners own the team, they write the checks, they can do what they want. But you hire a GM to empower him to make those decisions, or a head coach to make those decisions. It sounded like this was the candidate that Shane Steichen wanted, and by that, it makes me, that Chris Ballard wanted in Shane Steichen, and let Chris Ballard do his job, build a team, and not have an owner meddle into important football decisions, which the track record shows, more often than not, that does not sustain well over time.
Yeah, organizations don't work well that way, Field. Great point. Over the last 5 seasons, by the way, the Colts have had 8 different starting quarterbacks, including a different week 1 starter in each of those seasons. They need some semblance of continuity there. Well, and Andrew Luck would have been nice. I see what you did there.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.